Where is his stamp?
Well, the trademark, if there is, well, I believe as a Muslim, in fi khalq as-samawati wal ard, verily in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the outer nations on the day and the night, there are signs for men of understanding. I believe you understand to a certain degree. How does all of this grandeur, look at that burning sunset. Look how beautiful it is.
Yes.
Where did that come from?
Well, that
is that accident?
Yes. Yes.
What have you seen that matches, from all the accidents in the world, that matches the glory of something like that?
Yes, but the glory of this...
Forget debating.
Yes.
I'm asking genuinely.
Generally, the glory of that red sky can be reduced to a scientific explanation, but the awe that we see when we observe a sky like this does not come from being partly divine, does not come from being a divine creation. The awe that we see when we look at that sky does not prove in any regard that God
that's not what I'm
has
asking.
endowed us
I'm
with
asking
the
you,
ability
all of this
to see
order,
this.
all of this sophistication, all of this beauty, where did it come from? That's what my question is. If you can see
I don't know. That is my position.
But yeah, you don't know.
I don't
but
know.
What do you think? Use your reasoning that you're talking about. Where does order come from? Where does intelligence come from? Where does all of this ecology come from? Is it from nothing? Nothing comes from nothing. Something comes from something.
Well,
and you know, these are basics. I'm not teaching you anything profound.
Yes. I mean, you say that nothing comes from nothing, which is certainly true within this universe. But before the universe, outside the universe,
we're talking about in this universe, you and me.
Yes.
Where did we come from? What is our purpose?
We're stardust. We're stardust and carbon.
I think we're more than stardust. In my personal opinion, like if a theist came up with a statement like that, an atheist would have all rights to laugh at him. So when you say that to a theist, that we are stardust, imagine how that resonates within that theist. It doesn't make much sense. My question again, all of this order, all of this sophistication, because you said that the universe is a scary place. Okay. There must be no God. My question to you, all of this around you, this magnificence, the mercy that we have between each other, the love we have between each other, the high intensity of order, where did it really come from?
The order that you perceive is grounded in your perception.
Yes.
An ant is unable to look at this sky. A bird is unable to understand the beauty of this garden. That's human, that's distinguished.
Well, this is what in Islam Allah He says وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُمْ سَمْعًا وَأَبْصَارًا وَأَفْئِدَةً. We made for them ears, eyes and feelings. But it does not benefit them if they deny everything. So my question goes back to use your ears, use your eyes, use your senses. Where does all of this magnificence come from?
I think it comes from my ability to comprehend the world.
So this universe exists because of your comprehension?
Yes, you talk of magnificence. That magnificence is accessible because I can perceive it, because I can comprehend it. And those faculties of perception and comprehension are not proof of God. They're proof of a very complex being which has emerged through hundreds of thousands of years.
These things exist beyond yourself. These things. Now what you have is perceptions to understand these things. Now these perceptions which exist in you do not exist in behemoth animals.
Yes.
Like you said, the ants can't. But you have something which shows some kind of essentialism about you. What is it that makes you have these perceptions and these animals don't? And why are these things like that if they don't indicate as signs to a creator? If the creation does not indicate to a creator, then what benefit is all this rationalism and all of these faculties which you mentioned?
I think that humans are ultimately social beings.
Okay.
That we are deeply, we desire to socialize. We are social creatures. And I think that through hundreds of thousands of years of evolution, our social ability has emerged and reason has blossomed from this social being.
Evolution shows us how A became B, right? It does not show us how A got there in the first place. My question to you, is how do you, using your reason, your intellect, and all of these magnificent things that we learned through high school and university, all of these accolades, what can we determine cause all of this order, this beauty, this magnificence? This is my...
If I can step in with your question of, you're mentioning beauty, you're mentioning order, and you're mentioning complexity.
Yeah.
In my eyes, I come from quite a similar standpoint to my friend here. Those three can only come together if we believe in creation. If we believe, because creation, it denotes that there is a certain finite point, that we are the pinnacle of it, and beauty and complexity and order all have come together to
How?
this culmination.
How?
That things are complex and are orderly, and therefore they are beautiful.
But
things are orderly, therefore they're complex.
But how? How did that come together? By itself?
That,
This is what the question
stems
is.
from an assumption that we are the...
There's no assumption, I'm asking you,
Yes.
where does this come together from? All of this here, you see, what is it? Because you're agnostic, so use your reasoning as to tell me if you saw something in front of you with high levels of order, where does this, nothing is more ordered than the skies and the earth.
Say that. The reason I distinguish...
It's a question.
Yes, and if I was to explain, complexity, order and beauty for me are completely different, because I believe that we are constantly in flux, we're in progress. Yes, we have incredible sophistication, incredible complexity, there's so many moving parts, so you speak of body, you speak of the sunset, but I do not think that they're necessarily orderly. A human being is ridden with all kinds of disease, imperfection, things left behind by the long process of evolution that we no longer need, ways that
No, this is an
hamper
assumption.
us.
Let's just break.
Perhaps evolution is less not complicated.
Visceral, like parts of the body we no longer need. This is assumptions. Yeah, that they are no longer functioning, that they're
It's an
visceral part of.
fact.
No. They argue that this must be a remnant that was become redundant. But in order to say it's a remnant, we need to know what it was originally used for. But we don't know what this
We have a
originally.
tailbone.
Yeah. So what was that
Tails.
used for?
When we
There's
had
no
tails.
evidence. When did we have tails?
In the backbone.
I think we're in danger of
That's
being
what I'm saying.
sidetracked into evolution, which was discussed
Yeah,
before.
it
If I
is.
can
My question-
finish, my point about why the three are quite different. We look at the sunset and we agree that it's beautiful.
Okay.
There is complexity to it, but in my opinion, there isn't much order. The reason why it's beautiful is because it's uneven. It's imperfect, and that resonates with us because we are imperfect. It's not even. The colors will never happen again. They don't agree with
Can I ask you a
theory.
question?
Yes.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry, let me just...
Well, I would
No, it's
prefer
okay, you can pick it up.
to finish
Okay.
with the last point, and
Please do, yeah,
we'll
please do.
come back to it. So
Please do.
sophistication is there, but sophistication doesn't breed order. But in there is beauty as well.
Okay.
And those three can only come together if we have enough hubris to assume that we are a pinnacle of creation, that we are not going that we will forever be on this planet because we are placed there by the God, for example. In reality, we're just a mere point in this development. We are at one stage of it. We're endowed with reason. We are a fantastic point. of
Endowed
that
by
creation.
who, though? This is the question.
We have
Sorry,
to
you
have
hold
reason,
on.
but eventually it will unpack. It will something perhaps more beautiful will be created.
So
By
you
who?
will be
Created
there.
by who?
Complexity will
By
be there, but
accident?
order is impossible.
You're denying order?
I'm denying absolute order. Yes.
Okay. Do you accept that there is regularity, uniformity in the universe?
There is regularity.
Uniformity, and stability. Are these three things in the universe? Because you talk about science. In order for us to do science, we need regularity, uniformity, and stability.
We need
Otherwise,
constants.
And we can't do science. So, is there these factors, three things that I've mentioned, are they in our universe?
Well, first of all, I would say that I primarily speak of beauty.
Let's put beauty aside.
Rather than science.
No. Let's go back to the science, yeah? So, in order for us to do science, for example, this mic here, does it explode?
You're talking about a specific point in time.
No, I'm
And
talking about right this second.
this very second.
Does it
of course.
explode?
It's testifiable. It's very easy to think. But if we widen our perception to the great vastness of time,
Yes,
it's
but-
not a given.
No.
And
Time is irrelevant.
I'll challenge you to prove to me that it will not explode in the future.
That's what I'm trying to do, yeah? In order, for example, like this is electronical, yeah? Let's put this to a side, yeah? Your glasses. Would your glasses explode?
They will, given enough time.
No, they won't. Why? There is no reason, because if that was the case, you could never do science. For example, your glasses 100 years ago, today, 1,000 years from today, will not explode. There is no reason for it to explode. The reason we do science is because we know there is uniformity, regularity, and stability in the things that we measure. Like he said, for example, when we look at our constants, when we look at the universe, etc., there are certain things that are set to be. It's order. So in order for us to do science, they have to be like that. So otherwise, we can't do science. For example, if somebody wanted to check my scarf and it just randomly exploded or it randomly turned into an elephant, we can't do science because there is no regularity, there's no uniformity, and there's no stability. So what we're saying the following: we have these factors, and these are the factors. Now the question that needs to be asked is, these are things that are determined. Where, if there is things that are determined, who is the determiner? Because that's where it all boils down to. This is what we're trying to prove from our point of view, that there has to be a creator.
No, can I just make...
Well, you can touch on these 3 points because you guys are talking about randomness.
There are 3 points. If I make counter,
you said
Sure.
there.
You're insisting on this point in time.
Yeah.
Why is there science if it only concerns itself with the reality that we experience currently
No,
in
the
this given
constants.
moment?
You're saying the constants.
no,
You can only
no.
do science because there are constants. You have to.
Excuse
If you
me.
believe in
For
science.
example,
You made a point there.
Yes,
You
can
said
you
that
touch
these
on
things were determined, okay? And I would simply disagree with that assumption,
Why?
an assertion you made there. Yes, there is regularity. Of course, there is order.
thank you.
Yes.
So you
Where
accept
did
there's
it come
order.
from?
Yeah,
So you, one second, you accept there's order.
I'm
said
saying that we as a species can look at the universe and we see patterns.
Good.
And these patterns are measurable.
Thank you.
And they can be perceived.
they're measurable because they're stable.
Yes.
You cannot measure something that is
But
not
I'm
stable.
saying it's a huge leap from our perceptions of these patterns and order
Yeah.
to then say they were somehow determined or predetermined.
No.
Yeah.
The point I'm making is the following: we have stability, uniformity, and regularity.
yes.
Meaning that certain things, when you left your house today, you didn't say, yesterday I turned into a water bottle. I wonder if I'll turn into an elephant today.
So may I ask,
There's
what's your
stability.
point? Yeah.
The point is the following: that there is fine-tuning of the universe, that we have regularity, stability, and uniformity. There are certain things that we know. When I put my shoes on, I know my shoes are not going to turn into a pink elephant. When I walk down the road, when a bus hits me, I'm not going to turn into a fairy. I know there's certain things that are going to happen if I get hit by a bus. Therefore, I look left and right. So what we're saying is that you are sure about that. You talk about time, and you talk about, for example, is there order? If there is order, there has to be a being that sets order. You cannot have order from chaos. You cannot have order from disorder.
Can I just give you an idea here? If you put a load of bolts and nuts and wood
Yes.
into a box
Yes.
and shook it
Yes.
for eternity,
Yes.
it is not only probable but
Yeah.
certain
That what?
that collection of material
Yeah.
would clamp together
Yeah.
and
Become-
clamp together, so
Yeah.
the wood would clamp together
And become what? And become what?
and become something,
That is
become
the,
a state
that,
of
that,
order.
that is
So-
the.
What's the probability of that?
I'm
What's
saying,
it?
for example,
The biggest, that is the biggest nonsense I've heard. Not from you, just
Can I
no
just say-
disrespect.
Can I just say,
Please,
Casey,
yeah.
for example, so let's say you have a box and a load of atoms flying around
Yes.
in them.
Yes.
At a certain point,
Yeah.
those atoms will cluster together given enough time. So
But that's not sophistication.
No,
That's irrelevant
you
to the
have,
point.
Yes, you.
It's irrelevant to the
Yeah,
point.
what you're better off
saying that
arguing
there
is
can be
Stephen
no
Miller's
order.
experiment,
You
the
were
prime
saying-
model super experiment. That's what you're better to evoke.
You ultimately saying
Your premise is the following. Your premise is the following.
It's impossible without
Your
being
premise is the
determined.
following. This is your
I
premise.
simply
This is your premise. If we give it enough amount of time, all things are possible. Correct?
Yeah.
That's nonsense. How? Let me tell you something. I have an empty glass, and if I say to you, let's give it 1 trillion years, would I get a Ferrari?
Well, no, but the glass.
Would I get a Ferrari?
I'll
At
tell
some
you.
point in time,
No, I'll tell
they
you.
will rearrange into a Ferrari. If you give it enough
Are
time.
you being
Okay,
serious?
okay,
No,
okay,
no,
okay,
hold
okay,
it, hold
okay,
it,
okay,
hold
okay,
it.
enough time. If there's enough
Okay,
time.
what do you
We
say?
have
Do you
to
agree with
challenge
that?
you
No,
on
no,
that.
no. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with
I'm
that?
saying that when
Do you agree with that?
glass,
One second, do you agree with that?
Finish.
Please.
I need
Okay.
to finish this point.
Okay, let me finish this
And
point,
I think it
and I wonder if
ties
you
to
agree with
what
that.
I was saying before. If there's enough sort of material to produce a car, or for glass or whatever, or bolts to produce something more complex, yes, for a certain point in time, they will. and then they disperse, they'll form a glass, or that little mechanism of yours in the box will break.
But can I say
You're
something?
saying that there's no point of studying that mechanism
No,
that
no, no,
appeared out of bolts.
I never said that.
No,
You
you said
said
that it needs a certain constant. The mechanism does not need to exist forever.
No, that's fine.
We exist in that mechanism. We need to comprehend it.
That's
we
fine.
make sense of the environment that we're in.
That's
we
fine.
know that it came from nothing, it will become nothing. But yet we're endowed with this chance to inhabit it.
Okay.
And we are concerned with their rules.
Okay, that's fine.
Another point I want to make, if you give me a chance, you raised multiple. You really concern yourself with theoretical physics. It's such a wonderfully marginal part of science. And of course it's easiest to criticize because it's so ephemeral, it's so hard to prove. But really what majority of science concerns itself with is our existence here and now. What Quran concerns itself mainly, as much as it contains wonderful
Theology.
ideas about the universe and how the world works, it mainly deals with human interaction and relationship to creator, to each other.
And the creation
That is
and purpose.
you
That's
would
what the
agree.
discussion is about.
You would agree that
Can we just stay on topic?
chiefly
Can we just stay on topic? Because you
it's-
said
it's an example.
I understand, but you gave an example of that. If there's enough,
I'm just
but
saying
can-
that
can-
if Quran deals with it,
But-
then certainly we want to focus on the things that are within our control,
I
within our vision,
I
not
understand.
something that is happening
no,
far away, not glasses,
I understand,
not
but the
Ferraris.
thing is, we're going with your worldview. You made a claim that if there's enough time, the Ferrari is possible.
water
Do you
becomes a
agree with that?
Ferrari.
Do you agree with that?
Well,
just want- before I-
I've no idea. I've no idea.
Look, it's very
Yes,
simple.
It's
Look,
wonderful that you say that,
Look,
really,
look,
because it doesn't
no,
ultimately matter.
no, it doesn't. Just because he says I don't know.
But what
it's-
does this prove?
Let me
what
tell
are
you
we
what it
talking
proves.
about?
Firstly, do you agree with the statement that he made that if we give it enough time, that we will get a Ferrari?
Energy can't be
No,
created or
no,
destroyed.
no, man. I don't know something. I need it.
And the
Just this point,
atomic composition of that glass will disintegrate, it will fall apart, but the energy that was present within that glass you're describing, that energy will remain in the universe.
I'm
And
just asking a simple question.
and
If
I'm
we
sa-
gave it
no,
enough amount
I'm-
of time, would we get a
I'm
Ferrari? That's all I
saying
asked.
it won't go like that, obviously.
Of course
That's
not. I never
not
said it
what
was like
you're
that.
saying. But I'm
Long
saying,
period of
I'm,
time.
I'm- yes,
If-
I'm
if we gave it
saying
long
that-
amount of periods of
I'm
time-
saying that the atomic composition of that glass could ultimately re-emerge itself into a the
Thank you.
energy.
So
the
you
So
both,
he's saying
you both
yes.
agree.
He's saying
Okay.
yes.
but not that it suddenly pops into.
I never
being a
said
Ferrari
Of a
that.
period of
Now,
time.
this
Saying
is just
that
one
the
point I'm going to
energy
say, and
could
I'm going to
be
give back to Hamza. Yeah.
reused,
A simple question that will make you understand that what you're saying here is fallacious. The elements to make a Ferrari is not in the glass. How is the factor of time that if you have enough time, all things are possible, when the factor is the following? If you don't have the ingredients to make a Ferrari, you will never, ever get a Ferrari. The fact that you're saying enough time means anything is possible is absurd, because we're saying the elements to make a Ferrari is not in the cup. How do you make a Ferrari when the elements to make the Ferrari is not in there? That's all I wanted to say.
And I'm not. And by
Please
the way,
carry on,
I'm not
Hamza.
saying. I'm not saying for a second that a Ferrari would suddenly merge out of
Not
this
suddenly.
glass
No,
cup,
saying
We
that.
never
or
said that.
any
Over a period of
Ferrari.
time.
Your name is
You
Straw,
could-
bro.
you
You're
could
straw
go
manning
around-
our arguments.
No, you could go around in a car. You could.
Yeah.
You could like a toy car out of a
I
cup.
never said that. I said there is nothing in the cup.
That's
Ali,
what
one
you
second.
want. Sorry,
But
just
stop.
because there is energy in
What
that
do you think
cup,
is more
presence
likely?
in that cup, and
There
it
is a
could-
creator, or that water over a period of time can molecularly restructure itself
Which is
into
my point.
a Ferrari? Which one is more, honestly, answer my question to you. Which one do you think is more plausible, that there is a creator to the creation, or by a series of accidents over a long period of time, something simple like
Yeah.
water became something complex like a Ferrari?
Which one makes more logical sense?
Which one makes more logical sense?
Can I
Not
just say-
scientifically.
can I just say,
we're
okay,
not appealing
I'm
to
talk-
science.
what I'm-
Logic.
What I'm
In many
talking
ways,
about.
I'd love to stop talking about Ferraris and
know,
glasses.
No, but we have to.
I'm sure someone has a wonderful time who really is into quantum physics, but that's not science, that's not our
But can you answer his
experience.
question?
But to answer your question, it's I think we
Logically,
all
I'm
have a
asking.
sentiment that there was nothing before, and we are also tending towards disintegration. There's idea of something apocalyptic coming. We have the idea, the notion that everything is in flux. That is the probability. That is something we can agree
goes
on.
But you're not
Is that
answering. But you're not
our
answering this question.
creation?
Look, can you ask your question again?
look,
Can you ask a simple question?
I will.
Which
answer
one
this
is
question.
more
Can I say-
probable? But the question,
look, one-
because we're asking.
Look, which one is more probable?
Which one
That
is
there
more
is
probable? There is a creator,
look, which one is more
or
probable?
that
There is a
water
person.
became
No, 1 second. Is there a person
Look,
that
can
knows
I
how
just
to make?
say-
1 second.
can I just
His question
say
is the
this?
following:
Okay.
there is a person
You-
in the glass
you're
that knows
also-
how to make a Ferrari, and a Ferrari appears, or there is nothing in the glass and a Ferrari appears. Which one makes more sense?
This is a ridiculous way of phrasing this
I think
question.
it's- Come on,
No, I'll tell you why it's absurd.
Strobel,
Because
please answer
we
the
will-
question.
We will descend into the ground.
Strobel,
and
it's irrelevant.
No,
Please
no,
answer
no,
the
this is
question.
important. We will descend into this ground one day. You will die. You will be a decomposing corpse with maggots devouring your flesh. It won't be a pretty sight.
It'll be a buffet,
But
no problem.
it will be a buffet
Yes.
of the worms.
Free buffet.
But the energy that
I'll put it
is
up.
currently possessed in you will disintegrate into the ground. Trees will lap it up. Worms will be eaten by
And what's the
birds,
purpose?
and that
This
energy
is just-
will ultimately be redistributed into the eco.
But you're not answering our
This is
question.
just
Hamza,
a
stick to your question.
Because you
First
were
of
You're
all-
not answering the
I'll
question,
tell you
please.
What
why.
was the question?
Because you were
What was the
phrasing-
question?
You were phrasing this in a very
No, because
Strobel,
look,
what's the
look,
question?
One second, Strobel, you
absurdist
spoke for a
manner.
little while, yeah?
No, I'll
hear
say
me.
the question.
Hear me.
Your
Because
question
you know when you
is
ask us the
phrased
question,
incorrect.
it's obliging on us to answer in the most
Exactly.
simple way.
Yeah.
If we ask you a question, it's obliging
Yes.
on you to answer
I'm
in the most
explaining
simple
how
In
this
terms
could
of
be possible.
probability,
Please answer.
No, in terms of probability, there being a creator for the creation,
Yes.
or that something simple over a period of time turns into something complex, like water turned into the Ferrari, even though the original molecules
Yes.
aren't there.
Okay.
Which
Well,
one
is more
honestly,
plausible?
From your heart to heart, not for the sake of arguing,
Yes.
would you admit? I know the answer, and I think everyone who's listening knows the answer. But I'm having difficulty hearing it from your mouth.
Probability is a wonderful thing because it is equally as likely that there
Equally.
was a creator.
Yeah.
The fact that or that there was nothing. The fact that we
Is it
exist.
equally likely you're saying? Just
to
so I
come back-
understand the answer.
I think it's equally as likely, and let me say why. Because probability is a wonderful thing when it comes to eternity. Human beings in our worlds are so complex, the chance of it is so minuscule and imperceptible that it's the same as there being a God. And you can make a conclusion from that if that is the likelihood of us existing, then there definitely must be a God. And many more.
Do you know Stephen
entities
Miller's
that
experiment?
which is please enlighten me.
Stephen Miller in the 1950s, he done the primordial soup experiment, wherein he got molecules which he assumed at that time
Yes.
was the cause of the universe, and he shook it up, and the best he got over, and he sped it up, was just the combining of molecules, but there was no restructuring into something complex. And the argument against this only shows that you needed a higher intelligent being, Stephen Miller, the scientist, in order to create this change of molecules. This would have been a better argument for you, but it still falls. It falls down on its feet because it shows that you need an intelligent creator to make any form of intelligence, which we see across the world.
Okay, I grant
Where
you
did
this.
this come from?
I grant you this. So there's an intelligent creator. Okay,
Yeah, good.
is this
Good.
creator complex?
No. Did you?
He said,
no,
yeah, he said
no.
God.
Are you saying it for the sake of it, or are you genuinely accepting it? Because if you
No,
are,
I would
are
like
you
to-
an atheist? One second. Are you an
Hang
atheist or a
on,
deist?
no, let me
Are you an
finish this
atheist or a
point. Well,
deist?
then we'll find out if you
Stro-
can
Stro-
respond to
Strobel,
this point.
first
Then
no,
maybe I will convert.
No. I don't want you to convert. I'm
No, but
saying.
he's got a good question. Let's
No,
take it
no,
step by
I
step.
I'd
No,
like to
because
ask you a
is he saying it for the
question.
sake of it?
I say I grant you. Okay, I grant
No,
you.
why do you grant me it? Is it
I
because it
know-
makes logical
I would-
sense?
No, I would like to. No, I'd like to put this to you. Okay, so is this
Logically?
creator organized?
Before
is he
stronger,
structured?
stronger. Before we go to, are you logically
so
accepting
who
it?
created the creator?
No.
Okay, let's
Essential
Who did the
argument. That is
bachelor?
what
Who
I
did
would
the
like to hear.
bachelor marry? Who did the bachelor marry? That's the answer to your
It's a
question.
logical
Thank you.
impossibility.
Exactly.
Thank you.
But when something is created, is no longer the ultimate creator. One of the attributes of the ultimate creator is that he is uncreated.
Exactly.
When you ask someone who did the bachelor marry,
Yes.
it's the same as saying, because the bachelor by definition is one who does not marry.
Thank you.
So me asking you isn't a problem of possibility, it's a logical flaw in my question. So the bachelor by
Sorry,
hear
sir,
me.
but you-
But bachelor by definition is one who is not married.
Yes.
So the question is flawed.
Yes, but so you were
So, but go back
conflating
now.
linguistics
No.
to ontology. I could define the glass as a glass that can make Ferraris. You were defining God as an uncreated
But then you just made the glass the
deity.
creator.
But you were using language
there is no elements.
to then put you're pushing on.
So therefore, you don't
linguistics
believe there's a
onto
creator. You just said it
ontology.
for the sake of it.
I'm saying
Thank
I'm
you. That's
saying-
what I was asking you.
Okay,
You don't believe it.
Wait, Ivan, what
I'm
do you
saying-
think? Or
I'm-
did you understand the
I'm-
argument? It's
yes,
not
yes,
simply a linguistic
Certainly,
argument.
if you
There
want
are
a personal,
problems.
that's generous of you to offer me to say my personal opinion. I think that in seeking absolutes, we are tending away from humility and towards hubris, and that is my big challenge to religious ideas. You are attempting to now find an absolute truth, to be absolutely certain that what you believe in is what is definitely true. When you asked me of probability, and I gave my answer, is that they're equally as probable. I do not seek that absolute truth. I do not want the theoretical physics to find the answer to the universe.
You do follow
as
absolutes.
much as I don't want God to come and manifest himself to me.
Do you follow?
What I concern
Hamza,
myself with
Hamza,
is
you
the
follow-
sort of,
Ivan.
Do you follow
finite
absolutes?
life of
Do you believe you
You do
exist?
follow absolutes.
Do you believe you exist?
I certainly exist.
This is
Yes.
a-
Why?
Absolute.
That's an absolute statement. That's an absolute statement. Do you believe when you cross the road
yes,
and you get
there
hit
we
by
go.
a bus, would you get hurt or not?
Issue of scale is the caveat of your argument. It's the trap that you're laying out for me.
I'm not laying no trap.
Um,
I'm just having a discussion.
no,
I don't want to seem I'm laying a trap.
No animosity here.
Same.
What you're saying about absolute of what I believe in
Yes.
is not an absolute of glasses and thermodynamics and God.
Yes.
Those are absolutes of quite a different scale, and that's when my argument of humility comes in, and an absence of that
But
humility
why
from
do you
religious
not
discussion.
have humility by
Because
accepting that you don't exist?
You have just
You should-
equated
yeah.
my personal belief
Yes.
about my existence with the global order
One
of
second.
the universe,
Ivan.
and I think that is ultimate
Ivan, one second.
hubris.
But yeah, you say it's
My
hubris, but
personal
what standards
opinion
are you using? One
has
second.
no-
To suggest that you exist has got nothing to do with it. It's not a
Exactly.
question of humility. Let's
Exactly.
not really
It's fact.
overflate this stuff, inflate it to something it's not. The question is, do you believe in absolutes? The answer is yes. So why do you reject God? Because apparently
Thank
you're
you.
saying you don't believe in absolutes.
Yeah.
But he's trying to show you that your standard has to be regular. If you believe in absolute,
Yes.
no question of humility or hubris
Yeah,
or
yeah,
anything.
nothing like that.
If you believe in the absolute that you exist, then why can you not believe in the absolute God, your creator, exists?
And not only that, question
No,
us.
there's no question of piety.
No, not that.
or
But
humility.
Hamza, it's
This
all
is just
Hamza. It's also.
inflating the conversation.
But Hamza,
with
it's
words
also
which are not
he's
necessary.
accusing us of saying we're not being humble enough.
Yeah, this is what it is,
But
but it's
again,
not
you're
a
absolute in
question of that.
yourself.
That is my reflection.
You
on
just
it.
said that in nice words, but that's
Yeah.
not humble in itself. You're saying we're not humble. No one else accused you of not being humble. But this is not a question of humility. Our question is, does a creator exist? And this is what we're trying to get to. You have two probabilities. No two probabilities are ever 50-50 either, by the way. You always act on something whether you know it or not. You don't know if you're going to get knocked by a bus in that second, but you still cross the road. Why? Because you believe in absolutes and standards.
Exactly.
And constants, which Ali was saying that the universe operates on constants. These are laws. Laws come from lawgivers. Where is the lawgiver in this situation?
And they're absolutes. Like the fact that your scarf won't catch fire instantly is an absolute that we know, and that's how we do science.
Yes,
that's what we're trying to say.
precisely.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to say.
The absolutes of skulls catching
Yes.
fire and what is immediately accessible to me, in my reason, in the senses that
Yeah.
I'm endowed with,
Yeah.
I can draw certain conclusions.
Exactly.
I also believe that there might be absolutes out there. I believe in their
Thank you.
existence. I'm not. I also believe that I cannot access those absolutes. But what I can access is what is immediately around me.
Okay, but what
It's,
you cannot access does not mean it's not true. For example,
no,
maybe a tree in the Amazon fell. Did we observe it? No. Does it mean just because we didn't observe it, it didn't fall? Of course not. So
or
just
that we
because
have minds, or
yeah,
he has a mind.
Exactly.
Right? We don't see these things in
Consciousness.
terms of perception,
Yeah.
but we know it from influence. Likewise, if there's creation around you and you know nothing comes from nothing, then this must come from something. And this is ultimately what we're saying. Let's bring it to conclusion anyway. I think for
Okay,
me
yeah,
and
yeah,
in
yeah.
person here, we as Muslims believe that there is a creator. we as Muslims believe that creator is only one. Now, we haven't developed the argument, maybe we can do so another time, but this is what we as Muslims need. We believe that creator is merciful, as he has sent to us loads of messages detailing that Allah, God Almighty, He wants to be worshipped. This is the purpose of your creation. So you have a purpose and you have a creator, and for these reasons in Islam we believe you are created. So something again, I mentioned this, وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ, and in your own selves, أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ, do you not then ponder? All of this law, all of this order, it cannot come from nowhere. It has to come from somewhere. And this is where we say it comes from God Almighty. Anyway, Evan, next week we'll continue.
Certainly. If I may have my
Sure.
closing words, I believe in the irrelevance of the question of creating. The things that are immediately around us are the ones that are of primary concern to us, primary concern of most religions. The order is not complete. The sophistication is there, but beauty transcends those. It will continue to exist, and we will continue to ponder the immediate vicinity of ours, and that is what we need to focus on. That's the ultimate reason for religion, is to give us the tools how to interact with what is around us. By broadening the debate to the absolutes, we are trying to give ourselves greater confidence, to be less humble. We need to focus on what is immediately around.
Okay, just my final closing statement is that we talked about certain stuff like when it comes to order and disorder, but the thing is here that, for example, we talked about that the concept of infinite amount of time, meaning all possibilities are possible, is fallacious, because the factors of something, a Ferrari coming out of a glass, is an impossibility, and time is irrelevant to the equation. That's why we're trying to say that when atheists come and say infinite amount of time, infinite amount of possibilities, is nonsense, because the elements to make that thing, if they are not in the glass, you will never get that thing. So time is irrelevant, number one. And number two, we talked about constant things, for example, regularity, stability, and uniformity. These are the things that we use in science to come to certain conclusions, which shows that there's a fine-tuning of the universe. And all we're just saying is that, in a nutshell, that if there is order, that order cannot come from chaos. We know there is knowledge in our DNA, therefore there has to be a knowledge giver. And all we're just saying is, in a nutshell, is that that points to a higher being. Strong. Oh, that's your last statement.
Yeah, well, I think the difference between us, of course, is that I don't believe that these. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Sure.
Can
yeah.
you message? I left a message for my wife to come pick me up now. My battery's dead. Sorry. Bro.
These Yeah. Thank you. These. I don't think these faculties that you're describing point to a creator. Unfortunately, I mean, I would like there to be some great deity in the sky, but alas, I don't see any evidence or any compelling enough evidence to suggest that. Maybe we are made in God's image, but I mean, God, what wretched creatures we are, and what a God would make us. That's what I.
Well, the thing is, just to touch on it in Islamic perspective, God doesn't care how wretched you are. He just asks you to acknowledge Him and turn to Him, and He wants a relationship with you. He doesn't care like how wretched you are. He cares about you repenting, acknowledging Him, and being, just the way you acknowledge your father and your mother brought you to this age. I think they'll be very distraught if you was to turn around and say, I'm going to go thank Ali because Ali's done a lot for me and you've done nothing for me. It'll be a form of ingratitude. So all we're just saying is to acknowledge your creator. He loves you more than your parents and he wants the best for you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Strongbow. As usual, it's a pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure, thought-provoking.
Yes,
Strongbow, always. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Again, forgive me if we came across a bit condescending. It's just a bit challenging.
No, not
yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you. I like your hat, by the way.
No arguments at least. You know what I mean? Hazın Alev'i aradım. Hamda seni gelip buradan alacak. Öyle mi?
Ama ne zaman? Ya söyle
Şimdi
gelsin.
dedim.
Tamam şimdi gelsin. Bekle.
Öyle dedim.
Tamam, hadi
Niye
gel.
ki ben seni bırakırım?
No, she's coming to pick up. You don't need to joke me. She's coming because she's already here.
Oh.